Good morning, Tyler. I just want to welcome you to Ministry with Coffee. I'm so glad that you came on our show today.
Hey Tricia, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be on here, and I love talking about my story and what God did through me. So
That's great. And we're going to just dive right in because we don't have a lot of time. As you know, 20 whole minutes is just not enough time. So
yeah,
let's just first talk about what day and what time did God touch you? How did that look? And just kind of explain where you met Jesus for the first time.
yeah. So I actually received Christ when I was real young, so about 13, 14. He actually set me free from like suicidal thoughts and suicide, and really I gave my life to the Lord there. But I'll say it was probably around the age of 19 when I said, I want to follow you, Lord. And I started actually following the Lord and what he had for me. And, really through college, grew a lot. But then it was, I would say, probably 13 years later that I said yes to the calling on my life. So it was like I was following his general will, like this is what the Bible says do, this is what we're supposed to do. And then at that time, around 28, God was like, hey, this is what I have for you in this life. You can take it or you can leave it.
Wow.
Right. So it was, it was probably 13 when I said the salvation prayer, gave my life to the Lord. And then 19, I started following the Lord. And then 28, I said yes to what he had for me in this life.
So let me ask you, let's pause here. Okay, 28. Okay, so 13 years later, right? Is that about 13 years later? Okay, so let me ask, what happened at 28 that made that call so for real for you? I mean, so was it a dream? Did you have a vision? I mean, so let's talk about that.
Yeah. So I remember I started about 26, 27, really diving into like what the Lord wanted for me. I was a worship leader at my church. I had been a worship leader at my church for years and years and just growing in that. And me and my wife had really good jobs. We had the nice home. We had everything we wanted. By the time we were like 25, 26, we felt like we just made it, right? But when I got to 26, I really started asking God, like, all right, is this really what you want to do with my life? Like, is this what you have for me? And I just kept hearing no. I kept hearing this is not what I have for you. And I was like, well, what do you want me to do? And it started out with literally the first thing he asked me to do was, I want you to stop being friends with these two people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, how's that love, Lord? Like, how you want me to just put the, and he literally just made it clear as day, don't be friends with these two people. I was like, all right, Lord, I'll do that. So I did it. And it was just step by step by step, different things he was asking me to do that I would do. There's one time he told me to give away my truck, and I was like, what? That's my only truck. I don't have
You didn't
anything else.
say get behind me, Satan?
I did actually. But then turned out I was like, okay, this is the Lord. It just kept coming to me over and over again. Like, all right, it's time to give that truck away. And so I finally did it. And like biggest blessing, that's how God really set me free from like a worry of finances and worry about the next thing, is by knowing that my heart was so for him that I would lay down everything. So kind of like Abraham with Isaac, the promise that God gave to Abraham, God just wanted to make sure that Abraham's heart was where it needed to be. Would you lay down the thing that I gave you to be close with me? And
Mhm.
that's just kind of what it was. And so the Lord set me free, and just a whole like process over a year or two of God refining me and doing new things in me and removing the flesh desires out of my heart that were holding me back. And
Mhm.
then I remember one day I was coming home from work early, and I got home and my prayer life had even changed. Like, even the way I prayed, what I prayed for, everything just started shifting. And I remember I used to just pray for like what I wanted. Like, Lord, will you please give me this? And will you please give me that? And then it really changed to more of, God, speak to me what you want me to do, I'm listening.
Became kingdom minded instead of worldly minded, right?
Right. Yeah. I just was like, Lord, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. It was a shift from what I wanted and my desires in my life to God, what do you want? And the way I did that is I prayed that and I would just listen
Mhm.
for hours and hours, just listen to God speak. And, sometimes it would take an hour just to get to like actually hearing something. But it was just, man, God just spoke so many good things. That's where he spoke all those things that I'm telling you was in that time with the Lord.
I
And then it
think
was the,
I want
yeah.
to pause here because that's so important because, as you know, I'm writing another book and it's with the editors right now and it's talking about that God still speaks today. And
Mm,
and that's what I'm trying to get people to understand is in that quiet time. And
mm,
sometimes you're right, it takes an hour before you hear that voice, or he
yeah,
gives you a picture in your mind, or he does speak in so many different ways, and he speaks through people too, and messages and all kinds of ways. The Bible, the Word, all of that. But I love that you said sometimes it takes an hour because I think so many people today will not allow God that time. They want it in the microwave system, like, well, my dinner only takes 5 minutes. I mean, surely he can talk to me in 5 minutes. Well, he could. But I think it's that obedience. And I loved also that you said that he asked you to give away, like to drop some friends. I know that when I started walking with the Lord and I had to change, that's what he asked me to do too. He took me to Abraham, but he took me to Abram before he became Abraham. And that was really good because he asked Abram to leave his family and all of those things behind because I think they were going to hinder him in the journey that the Lord has. So, do you believe that that's kind of why God was asking you to do some of these things? They were kind of hindering you for the next step that He had for you?
absolutely. So I view like God's vision and what God has. Like if we had a picture and what we see is like the pinpoint of God drawing. He's drawing this painting and he sees the whole painting, but we just see the pinpoint. So that's
Mhm.
what we're looking at. And that's what I believe is like God's revealing these things, and that's just part of God's pen stroke. And when we stop listening and obeying, we're just stopping God's hand from moving.
Mhm.
And this awesome thing that He has for our life, this beautiful painting God has for us, when we disobey, we're just halting His hand. Not saying He's ready to keep going, but we
Mhm.
just sit and halt it. And that's what He revealed to me was what I'm telling you, the obedience is what keeps the hand moving in the drawing that I have for your life and what I'm trying to do for you. And yeah, exactly. It would be an hour of sitting, and I think God just wanted to steal my mind from distractions and things happening around me and the workload that I had, and He just wanted to make sure that I was just in a place of like quiet stillness, meditating on the word, and then he just starts speaking. And yeah, definitely, I would not be where I am right now, sitting in this office, without that time of waiting on the Lord and listening. There's absolutely no way.
Let me
Yeah.
ask you, when you had to walk away from some stuff, and you have to, the higher he calls us up, the more we have to die to ourselves. And sometimes it's to give up people that we love, or people that we're doing life with, because he's moving us in a different direction. It's not because of anything bad. It's just he's trying to get us to go in a different direction. So how did that feel, and how did those people receive it? Because I know that that's not easy. Let's talk about that wilderness time when you did make these things. Didn't always feel good, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's like a season of just cutting away of things. And man, you just see it so much in scripture. Every time somebody stepped into like what God called them to do, uh, there was this thing they had to walk away from. I think Abraham, like you said earlier, it was the walking away from family. And, for us, me and my wife, me and Crystal both, our families are both in Mississippi and we
Mhm.
love our families. And having to take that step and walk away was hard. Our church family like we really loved our church family. I loved leading worship there. I loved the ministries I was involved in, the Celebrate Recovery Ministry, and all
Mhm.
these things. And each season that we had to walk through required us walking away from something,
Mhm.
and something good. It's not like it's something bad. Of course,
I get it.
you walk away from those good things, and I mean, those bad things, that's pretty easy. Like it's not, but once you walk away, you're like, I see the fruit of that now.
Mhm.
But walking away from the good things was super challenging to do. Um, I remember we were at an RV park whenever and we'll probably talk a little more about this,
Mhm.
um, but we were at an RV park, and there was this family there, and they had three kids, and the kids were the home they were growing up in. They were in an RV on the RV park as well, and the parents were super abusive and
Mhm.
neglectful for the kids. And me and Crystal just took those kids in. Like, they would come eat at our house every meal, at our RV every meal. They would come play with our kids. They were at our house all the time because they felt some stability there.
Yeah.
And we were able to take them to a revival one time, and they gave their lives to the Lord, baptized. They, uh, like those three kids, and they were all under the age of 10. We really
Wow.
felt this responsibility and weight for them. And when the Lord called us to Texas, we had to leave them.
Yeah.
And like, that's something that God was doing really good, that He allowed us to be a part of. And the Lord's like, all right, it's time to go this way. And we're like, we can't leave these kids here. Like, these kids. And He's like, those are my kids.
Mhm.
And it was like, oh, and it just wrenched me and Crystal, and even the ministries we've had to kind of step out of because of the season.
Mhm.
It's just been
Mhm.
it's been hard, but like every step, we know God's doing what He does, and like every step is better and better and better. And it'll be a season of pouring out to others, and it's a season of getting poured into. And
Mhm.
just constantly, God's just, like I said, that pen, He's just constantly drawing this beautiful picture of our lives. And yeah, so yeah, the down times of people being against you, when you're in ministry, for sure, you have people that are against you and not for you, and that's hard to walk through. But God's refining in all of it. And
Mhm.
so yeah, just the hard seasons are really what builds us, what encourages us, and gets us closer to Him too. So
Yeah, I really agree with that. I know that I went through a time and I was arguing with God. I know that's really hard for you to believe that I would argue with God. But I did.
okay.
I was going, hey, you're pruning this stuff away from me. You're asking me to leave this behind, or let this go, or to okay, even if it's ministry. Even if it's
Mm.
a ministry that's bearing fruit, and I've had ministries where it's bearing fruit, and God said, "Nope, I want you to lay that down." And I'm going, "But it's bearing fruit.
Yeah,
It's good.
it's been good.
It's good. It's got some fruit. Look, there's like three apples on this tree. I mean."
Yeah, yeah,
And he's
100%.
going, "No, no, I want you to lay it down." But I've noticed, and I want to ask you this question next. I noticed that after I laid it down, a more abundant fruit came my way. And if I wouldn't have laid that down, I would have missed the opportunity of seeing God even do more in my life and in ministry than I could have ever hoped or imagined.
Yeah.
So share a time where when you laid it down, what did God do?
Yeah, well, even going back to, the process, God working in me, and going back to basically before ministry. Probably the last big thing that He did for me was, I was laying in my bed one night, and we had been through all the process of listening to the Lord, and I had this vision. Like, I'm laying on my bed, I prayed that prayer, Lord, speak to me what you want me to say, I'm listening. And literally in the vision, like, it was the realest thing I've ever been in outside of reality. As far as, like, I could feel like wind, like, blowing through my hair, and I could feel the streets under my feet. And I remember, like, I'm in heaven, right? And
Mhm.
the most realist, it was unbelievable. And I remember I'm literally wearing the same clothes. I had on a pair of basketball shorts and a t-shirt, and barefooted, and like I was laying in my bed. And I took about 3 steps forward and I looked behind me, and there was this gate that was just people, millions and millions of people on the other side of it. And what I realize now is that was the Lamb's Book of Life. And I had
Mhm.
made it through into heaven. And I'm walking down this street, and I look to my right, and there's like the Lord sitting on the throne. Like, and I'm like, whoa. And I remember just falling down to my left with just the
Mhm.
power and the glory and the love that coming off of him. And I remember like looking up at him just with my arm covering my face like this. And uh, what I realized is I was at the white throne judgment, of course, which is
Mhm.
where we'll be judged for the deeds and the things that we did on this earth. And I remember him leaning over at me like a father correcting a child. Just picture that. And him saying, son, if you would have done what I told you to do, when I told you to do it, do you know how many thousands of people would be saved? Do you know how many people would have their lives transformed, would be equipped to do what they're called to do, would have stepped into their ministry? And then I remember he looked over a little further and he said, I hope the house is worth it.
Oh, wow.
And right there, I woke up at that point. And it was literally from that point forward, conversations with my wife and prayer. And we sold our house, our dream home. We
Mhm.
both quit our jobs. We both had to leave our church. We left our family, had to sell everything we had. I mean, we had two huge 50-foot trailers full of furniture and stuff that we got rid of. And we bought this RV, started living in it, traveling, doing tent revivals, crusades, street evangelism. Just really, we're going after the lost. That's what we're doing. And yeah, so that laying down something, it was literally everything that we had built ourselves. So it was everything that we had built, that we had identity in. God asked us to just lay down and get rid
Mhm.
of. And it was the best thing I ever did in my entire life. Like,
I agree.
my question changed. Like, so the question I asked God, we'll ask God, what if I do this? But now it's, what if I don't do this?
Amen.
So that's just a question we have to ask ourselves. Everybody watching this podcast is, what if you don't do it?
Amen. That's
Instead
so
of,
good. And I think that what you laid down was just idols. You know,
yes,
even good things can be idols. Even ministry can become an idol. You have to be so careful there where if you're not spending time with the Lord and really pressing into what He's calling you to do, you're going to pick up stuff you're not supposed to pick up that He never intended for you to pick up. So that's a really good word. But right now, you're in a good place. God landed you. So talk about how God has kind of restored what you lost in a really bigger way to me. It might not like be the dream house or
yeah,
whatever, but it's really kingdom minded. The gifts that you've received for the kingdom minded versus the worldly minded is so far better. So let's talk about that a little bit.
absolutely. Yeah. So first thing God brought me was Stonewater. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
on staff
Mm-hmm.
at Stonewater now as the Director of Evangelism. So I
Mm-hmm.
lead evangelism efforts at all campuses, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, like, even that is okay, but the community and the family that we have here
Mm-hmm.
surpasses anything we've ever imagined. Like,
So
we
good.
didn't know church could be this good. Like, I'm
So good.
constantly looking for like something bad to happen, because it's just like we just never have been a part of anything like this. And so that's the best thing we've ever, like, a community and a body to be a part of is the best gift that God has ever give us.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I would sell my house and get rid of all my possessions and everything again to be a part of a body of believers that are for us, not against us, that are building us up closer to being kingdom minded, discipling us.
Mm-hmm.
So being here, getting to equip people, getting to see people come to Jesus, getting to see people equipped to lead people to Jesus. And it's just been amazing. And then, of course, because of the people that are so generous, man, we've now come from an RV and now we're back in a house that I better than anything I'd ever dreamed of. And like I said, just the community of people around us. I would say sell everything you got to be around people that
Mhm.
love you and care for you in a good church body.
Share a little bit before we sign off about Rim Church and your part in that as well.
Yeah, so RIM Churches is a community of churches. It's not like an organization or anything like that. It's just a community of churches that are like for each other.
Hmm.
So we're going against division. We're going against being alone. Like talking about community earlier, like I said with Stonewater, the best thing ever happened to me was having a good biblical community. Well, RIM Churches brings that to the pastors.
Hmm.
So sometimes the worst thing about being a pastor is you don't have biblical community. You don't
Hmm.
have people looking out for you and your family. They're just worried about what you can do for the church. And
Hmm.
RIM just says, hey, we care about you more than we care about your ministry.
Hmm.
So any pastor that just feels alone or broken or just stuck, doesn't have vision for what's next, like RIM Churches is for you. What it stands for is reach, equip, and multiply. So
Yeah.
I help a lot with the reach part. I go to churches all over the world, and I help them when it comes to outreach and evangelism in their church. So love doing that. I've been to Scotland, I've been to Washington, been to Florida, and just really help churches to grow their evangelism ministry. And then, of course, equip and multiply is huge. We equip for ministries, and then multiply. Our goal is like to, hey, if you all want to start campuses, we want to help with that too. And of course, the main thing is we care about you as the
Mhm.
pastor. We don't care about really as much. Hey, how can you grow your church to 400? So, but yeah,
I think that's so powerful because the pastor's job is so hard because everyone thinks they have it together, but they just really need people to love them, to ask about their children. How's your children doing? Or bless their children, or there's a motive behind it. I'm going to be nice to the pastor so I can try to get, I mean, sometimes there's a motive, like they want to get something back from the pastor instead of just love on the pastor, just pray for the pastor. Don't expect anything back. They need
yeah.
that, right?
Oh, I need that so bad.
They
Really.
do. So before we finish up, I just want you to leave our listeners with the final word. What would that be?
Absolutely. I would say be obedient to God no
Mhm.
matter what he's telling you to do. Like listen to him. There's a lot of us are stuck when it comes to our growth with the Lord. So we've been disciple, we've been Christians 30 years, and now we just feel like we're beating up against this wall of I don't know what to do next. And that next thing is obedience, whether that be serving in your local church, whether that be helping your local pastor, whether that be loving your neighbor, whatever that looks like, be obedient to that next thing. And also, there are lost people all over the place. Like around you, your neighbors, people want to hear the good news of the gospel. And I've seen that so much here lately. The harvest is ripe, and people are just waiting for us to bring the good news to them. So do not be afraid to pray for others, share the good news, share the gospel with people around you because people are starving to death. So be obedient in what God's called you to do, but also just be obedient in sharing the good news of the gospel with people around you and praying for and encouraging other people.
That's a good word. I just want to thank you for coming on, and I pray that they hear that word and they take that challenge and they do exactly what you said, because without obedience, you really don't even have a witness. So, Tyler, thanks for being on today. We really appreciate it, and I looked forward to this, and I'm glad that we got to have this time together because I didn't know all your stories, so this was really a pleasure for me too.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me. And yeah, God's been good. He's always good.
Hello, friends. I just want to take a moment and thank you for joining us today with Ministry with Coffee. We're so glad that you're here. And I want to ask that if this has moved you or encouraged you, the story that you just listened to today, that you would like our page and that you would share our page with your friends and your family. Together, if we work together, we can share the gospel of Jesus throughout the world at one cup, one story at a time. Thank you again for your support. We are so glad that you have chosen to minister and partner with us. Thank you again.